In a little over 30 hours from now, the grand inauguration ceremony for India's new state-of-the-art parliament complex is set to begin. But as we speak, over 20 parties have confirmed they will boycott the historic event. Many of them are citing an insult to the President of India and India's first citizen as the reason. Some of them are going hammer and tongs against the centre. And even as all of that is happening, several citizens of the country, 270 of them, many of them ex-bureaucrats, veterans, have written an open letter saying that the skeletal arguments of the opposition are immature whimsy and have hollow reasoning. They even went on to say that the opposition is just sucking out the soul of democracy. The question, though, is that now the citizens who are saying that the parliament stands for all of India and all of Indians, will the politicians listen to them?
When they choose as a Rashtrapati candidate, why Congress friends, they put a candidate against her? At that time, they have not seen that she is representing Adivasis. These are politically, they wanted to raise some issues. For that, they are misusing this.
Everyone should appreciate the concept of bringing up this new parliament. But a lot of controversies have come up. But if the concept is good for the people, I think everyone should cooperate.
The inauguration of the building should transcend politics, political considerations. If anything is to be discussed in the parliament, then it could be done in the parliament itself. During the business of the House. And therefore, the BJD Supremo, Naveen Patnaik, has decided to support the inauguration.
19 parties जो ये इनॉग्रेशन को अपोज करते हैं, वो बराबर नहीं है. I condemn this because उसका फाउंडेशन स्टोन माननीय पंतप्रधान लेट इंदिरा जी ने किया है. उस टाइम में कोई भी ऐसा गलत बोला नहीं था.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us on the debate, we have Baswati Mukherjee, former diplomat, Dr. Bikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, Dr. Suman Siraman, political analyst, and Bishwajit Deb, spokesperson of the TMC and senior advocate. Ms. Mukherjee, I want to start by asking you, what is the reason that citizens, people who've come from various walks of life decided to write this open letter to those who are boycotting the parliament inauguration?
Thank you for the question. The reason why 270 of us, academics, eminent citizens, civil servants, ambassadors, got together and joined this letter, wrote this letter, is because we wanted this magnificent event, a once-in-a-century event, the inauguration of a new parliament, to be celebrated by all parliamentarians in parliament, as it would be celebrated by all Indians all over India. We believe that in a democracy, it is normal for political parties to have differing views. That's part of being democratic. But we feel that there are events in a nation's life that need to be celebrated together, regardless of political differences. And we strongly felt, 270 of us, that this is one of those events. And therefore, we hoped that our letter would convey that message to those parties with whom we have the greatest respect, that they could review their decision and join the celebration, because after all, we are the world's largest democracy. This is a new aspirational India. The new parliament would have so many more facilities for our parliamentarians. It would help in having a more democratic and vibrant dialogue between parliamentarians and between parliament and the rest of India. And finally, it's, after all, a democracy, and a parliament is for the people, of the people, by the people. There is no reason why political parties who afterwards would go to the same parliament to attend meetings could not celebrate with the people of India, including myself, this magnificent event in a nation's history. That's
Dr. Suman Siraman, why are you smiling?
No, I think the lady put it beautifully. I mean, she said everybody should be together. I agree entirely. But she seems to have forgotten that the first citizen of this country is not part of the celebration. And maybe she can give us an explanation as to why they feel that it is not necessary when she says that political parties across the spectrum must come together. This is a momentous occasion. I agree. For all citizens of this country, perhaps she can explain to us what is the need to deliberately exclude the first citizen of this country from such a momentous event. After all, the President of India is the first citizen, whether the ruling dispensation likes it or not. That's what the Constitution has said. So if she is the first citizen of this country, what is it that prevents the Honorable President from being part of the function? Look, this is not necessarily about who inaugurates it, right? The Prime Minister could still inaugurate. But clearly, there is some reason why the President and the Vice President should not be there. At least that's how it's coming out.
Okay, Dr.
And I'm
Vikram
not
Singh,
able to understand why.
respond to this. You're talking about unity, you're talking about bipartisanship, but here it is being alleged that in not allowing the President to inaugurate, that in itself is churlish.
Are you asking me to respond?
Dr. Vikram Singh, when you're writing a letter, why aren't you opposing that?
I question that because the same issues, Padmaja, went to the Honorable Supreme Court today, and the Supreme Court not only turned down the request but also came down heavily on the advocate and said we would have levied a fine on you but for the fact that we are just dismissing it today. So there is no merit in the petition in the first place, and the people who are now trying to raise this issue just for the sake of raising it are the people who used an epithet because a sense of decorum prevents you from repeating that word. But it went to the Supreme Court. Therefore, your argument that the very fact that it has turned down by the Supreme Court also adds merit to the fact that you cannot pick and choose when to honor the President. You used a word, and a sense of decorum prevents you from using that word on a national television channel. Padmaja, you would be aware, I cannot repeat that word. It was so derogatory for our Honorable Her Excellency, the President of India. Now, you chose to ignore her joint session of the Parliament before the budget session. You also chose to ignore the presence of the Honorable President on several other occasions. But today, you just for the sake of an argument, you feel that the very fact that the inaugural is by the Prime Minister, duly elected Prime Minister, you feel that this is one occasion where this could give you some brownie points. Please don't you pick any and every occasion to score brownie points. This is one temple of democracy.
Just by the way, as far as the program of inauguration is concerned, it also includes a reading of the message of the Deputy Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha and
but they are
the
less than
President.
1 kilometer away. Why can't they be present? I mean, I can't for the life of me understand. Okay, they are not in the country or something. They are less than a mile away. Why can't they participate?
Sir,
what is the overwhelming
Sir, the fact of the matter is that today, you are tilting at windmills and you are saying, if their address is being read out, why are they actually not present? If they were present, then it would be about something else. Why are they not standing to the left of the President, to the right of the Prime Minister? Why is he standing on the upper step? Why are they standing on the lower step? Are you looking basically
Padmaja, these are arguments for the sake of arguments. They have no substance.
Arguments for the sake of arguments is what is being said by the citizens. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Mr. Bishwajit Deb, you've got citizens of the country, 270 of them, using rather strong language where they've said somehow the opposition with its skeletal arguments, immature whimsy and hollow reasoning, and most of all flagrant display of non-democratic posturing just doesn't get that the inauguration of the Parliament building is a moment of pride for all Indians. It's whimsy, they say.
Well, you see, I don't agree to what they have written in that particular letter. But there are two aspects of this particular matter. You see, first of all, the Honorable President of our country has been completely ignored. I would rather say that she has been sidelined. I don't understand that when the Constitution says, that Article 79 says that the parliament will consist of the president and the House of People and the Council of State, why the president will not be invited to this particular event? In such an important event, the president had been completely ignored. This is a direct insult to the office of the president, the highest office of the country. And you will see that during the COVID time, when this building, when the foundation stone of this building was laid, the then Honorable President of India, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, he was also not invited. The same thing happened now also. You will see that it is a deliberate attempt of this government to insult the highest office, and not only that, both of them come from backward class. They belong to the SC community. So it's a direct insult to that particular community also. So that is why not only All India Trinamool Congress under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, but also the other opposition leaders of other opposition parties, consisting of 19 opposition parties, decided to protest, and as a mark of protest they have decided to boycott this particular event.
Basmati Mukherjee, you've called it small-minded. The opposition parties say it is the treatment of the president which is small-minded. Why are you ignoring that?
I would say that their approach is small-minded, whimsical, and not based on law or reality. I would like to remind them that, as you yourself pointed out a little earlier, there would be a message from our Honorable President, for whom I have personally the highest respect, a woman president, and the Vice President, who actually had a very troubled relationship when he was governor in West Bengal, my home state, with the same Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee. They have their messages being read out. The President of India is highly respected, and it is this government.
Then governor.
আপনি এক মিনিট আমাকে কথা বলতে দেবেন. I must be allowed to speak. This is not democratic. I heard him out. Please allow me to speak.
Mr. Dev, I will get you a chance to rebut, sir. Please let her finish. Please let her finish. You will get a chance to rebut, sir.
He acted as a mouthpiece.
You are not allowing me to speak, sir.
Why there was a trouble
আপনি আমাকে কথা বলতে দিন. He's not allowing me to speak. Is this democracy? You tell me. On national television, I've heard you out. You're not allowing me to respond. That is not democratic, sir. It's not democratic.
Finish your point, ma'am. Then I'll give you a chance to rebut, Mr. Dev. Yes.
Allow me to finish, Mr. Dev. Allow me to finish what I'm saying before you respond. I am saying that Mr. Dev's behavior is itself undemocratic. Let me finish what I'm saying. I am saying that it is this government who, in fact, decided to bring to the highest post of this land a highly respected lady, well known for all the contribution that she has given, and then to tilt at windmills and to pretend that they're not being invited. It's so insulting that these parties who have such a comfortable relationship with these highest individuals in our country, the first citizen of India, therefore they are not attending, is purely whimsical and political, and not allowing me to finish what I'm saying is undemocratic completely. So if this is the kind of undemocratic behavior that the representative of the Trinamool is doing, I'm sorry, I cannot agree with this kind of behavior.
Okay, Mr. Dev, respond. And just let me add, it's not only your own troubled relationship with the former governor and now vice president, but in fact, one of your ministers, we had Mr. Akhil Giri speaking in Nandigram on the 11th of November 2022, say about President Draupadi Murmu. We don't judge anyone by their appearance. We respect the office of President of India, but how does our president look?
That was condemned.
It was condemned, but he said it, sir.
That was condemned.
He did say it.
And that was condemned.
The former governor and now vice president was called Uncle G by a member of parliament.
She also condemned.
By a member of parliament of your party.
And that minister had apologized unconditionally. He tendered an unconditional apology. And the chairperson also, Ms. Mamata Banerjee, she also apologized. But the problem remains. You see, you must understand one thing, that it's a clear violation of the Constitution. They are not following the constitutional provision. The parliament cannot function without the president. You cannot think about a parliament without the President of India.
Can you think of the governor's house without the governor?
The President of India.
Can you refuse to send files to the governor of West Bengal when he was there, sir?
You are demeaning the office of the President and you are belittling, they are belittling the parliament itself.
But sir, is it okay to belittle the governor? Is that not an insult to constitutional positions? Is it okay to not give files to the governor when Jagdeep Dhankar was the governor of West Bengal? Is it okay for a member of parliament of your party to call him an Uncle G?
Is it okay for the governor to sit on files for months together?
And to call him an agent of the BJP.
And not to act on it.
When he was sitting in the constitutional office, he was called an agent of the BJP, sir.
Is it befitting? Is it befitting for the governor to act as a mouthpiece of BJP sitting in the Raj Bhavan?
There you go. You called him a mouthpiece again.
That is where the Trinamool Congress protested.
There you go.
Again, sir, when you call him a mouthpiece, the office of governor, where does the respect for constitutional propriety go? Today you are bemoaning that very loss of constitutional propriety.
Constitutional propriety, I'm again repeating, whatever his functions as a governor was not a constitutional, was not just like a constitutional office. He did not perform his constitutional function properly. He was a biased person.
Sure, of course.
And that is why there were protests.
So somebody deserves respect only when you say so. When you deem them biased, then they don't deserve any respect, irrespective of the office that they occupy. But let me quote to you a few examples in this letter, sir.
Either he should have returned those or he should have signed it.
All right. There are a few examples quoted here, Dr. Suman C. Raman. In 2021, Congress party along with opposition boycotted Samvidhan Divas, this being the second time in a row that opposition parties boycotted the President's parliamentary address. 2022 monsoon session, Congress whipped up another non-existent issue of inflation and added that to the unnecessary issue of GST. The same gang boycotted joint session of Parliament on Constitution Day, where Baba Saheb Ambedkar was being honoured. So all of these boycotts, does that constitute disrespect to constitutional posts and constitutional celebrations? Dr. Suman C. Raman?
In fact, I will draw your attention to the tweets of Jairam Ramesh and Manish Tiwari, where they have spoken about the parliament having become quite non-functional over the last few years. And in fact, one of them has even gone on to say from being non-functional in the existing premises, it will continue to be non-functional in the new premises. In fact, that is the tweet that has been put out. See, the point I'm making, Padmaja, is this was an opportunity to be magnanimous, to say that, look, we want to reach across the aisle and we want, look, this is not about who should get the credit for building the new parliament or inaugurating.
They have invited everyone, including leaders of the opposition parties.
Except the president, except the first citizen and the vice president. And to say that somebody who lives less than a mile away from the new parliament building cannot be invited to be present in person, even to grace the occasion. It's not about inauguration. I'll come back to the point. The Prime Minister can most certainly inaugurate it. After all, it's been built with his initiative and all that. That's okay. But the fact that they should not even be present physically at that venue is something which is very sad. And this was an opportunity to show magnanimity. There is still time for the President and the Vice President to be invited to the function. And I don't see the argument of the Mr. Singh and the lady, where they say that you are being churlish, you are being this. Give me one good reason to keep them away.
Okay.
Give me one
Dr.
good
Bikram
reason
churlish,
which says that they should not be called.
Churlish, and where's the one good reason?
Padmaja, you have exposed the double standard and the hypocrisy of our esteemed panelists, number one. Number two, that a lawyer had gone to the Supreme Court on the same demands, which was not only set aside by the Supreme Court, but also reprimanded that you would have been fined, but for other circumstances. Now we come to the fact that it cannot be pick and choose. Today, their anguish is so poignant, and Well, that is your interpretation of law. The Supreme Court is under provisions that they can take up any matter that is brought in the Constitution. But there's an honorable lawyer who has gone. Let us not go debate that. We are debating what you have raised. We are debating what you are saying. You cannot pick and choose to honor the president when you choose to, and you choose to dishonor the president when you choose to. There cannot be double standards for everything. There cannot be a time to honor and a time not to honor the honorable president of India. The word that has been used for the honorable president, I cannot repeat them because the sense of decorum prevents. I cannot. Now, the question is that the elected Prime Minister of the largest democracy represents you and me and everyone. The message of Her Excellency is going to be read out, and that of the Honorable will be read out during the course of the ceremonies. Also, there is a certain sense, an element of protocol, and therefore that every ceremonial occasion, not necessarily they are very much a part of this wonderful temple of democracy of which you and I are also a part. As Jigar Muradabadi had said, "Main chaman mein chahe jahan rahun, mera hak hai fasle bahar pe." Wherever I may be, I have a right on all the fruits that this country has to offer. Therefore, I would say, instead of going into cosmetics, see the spirit and the philosophy behind the ceremony. This is a matter of tremendous pride for all of us Indians right across the globe. And let it be a ceremony. Let it not be marred by controversy and politics. This is not the occasion to do politics on such a ceremonial occasion.
This message of magnanimity, it has to cut both ways. Even today, parties like the YSRCP, the BJD, the JDS, who are politically opposed to the BJP, have decided to go ahead and participate. Because their argument and their spirit also is that they are participating as citizens of India. They are not participating as a political party. The parliament belongs to them. And eventually you also, sir, as a member of parliament, will go and sit in this parliament.
No. YSRCP is...
Parliament belongs to everybody. Parliament belongs to this country.
Exactly.
And that is why we again insist that the Honorable President of India should be invited, because the President of India is a part and parcel of the Parliament.
But sir,
the Honorable Vice President of India, he should also be invited. You cannot think about a Rajya Sabha.
Sir, you do not think that this is seeming like small-minded.
Without the President.
If today, if on Sunday you boycott, and then 2 sessions from now you are going to go and sit in that same parliament, it's just going to seem strange.
No, then either you speak or let me speak.
All right, speak.
Either you speak or you let me speak.
Speak.
If you go on interrupting like this, I can't speak. Now it's a question of, you see, whether the President of India is a part and parcel of the House, whether the Vice President of India is a part and parcel of the upper House. And still, you see, the constitutional provision clearly says, Article 79, tell them to read Article 79. It clearly says that the Parliament shall consist of the President and the Council of State and the House of the People.
Today I think the answer to what you are saying, sir, was given by H.D. Kumaraswamy, who has just fought the BJP in the recently concluded Karnataka elections, where he said if today there is so much love for the president that all the parties are expressing, where does all that love go when they did not vote for the same president? Today you are saying, oh, she is a tribal lady, she is being undermined, but when she was opposed by Yashwant Sinha, you went and voted for Yashwant Sinha.
Well, Miss Padmaja, that was a political.
But isn't this opposition political as well?
Political contest was between the ruling party and the opposition. You don't drag that into the picture.
I didn't drag it. H.D. Kumaraswamy said it, sir.
Now she is the president.
H.D. Kumaraswamy said it.
Of each and every citizen of this country.
All right, Bhaswati Mukherjee, Miss Draupadi Murmu, that time was a political candidate. Now she is the president of India. And this opposition and this boycott is a principled boycott for the honor of a tribal lady.
All I can say is that today's debate has demonstrated, if any doubt was there, that the boycott is purely political, that there are political parties who want to give a completely wrong impression, both within India and outside India, that the democratic polity in India is so divided and polarized that we can't even get together to celebrate the inauguration of a new parliament building. And I would tell my colleague from Bengal that then he has forgotten the message of Rabindranath Tagore given so many years ago when he said that you can go all over the world but you would never find a country as beautiful as India. What would Tagore have said if he had heard this debate? He would have been completely and totally ashamed. And I would...
Yeah, he would have been ashamed. He would have been ashamed.
Yes.
You are not a Bengali, so you
The country is not even invited
when he would have heard,
to a place
he would have heard
in
that
which
the
he
President of
occupies
India
pride of
is
place.
not there
The way
in the
they are yelling and
inauguration
shouting,
of the Parliament
this is
House.
the caliber
He
of
would have
democracy
really
in the
been
Parliament,
shocked. He
This
would
is
have
how
been
they shout at
shocked
each
to
other
hear
non-stop.
that the President of India
Unbelievable.
has been left out in the inauguration program of the Parliament House.
Well, we will never know what way Rabindranath Tagore would have felt, but what the people of the country feel right now, I think, would be quite apparent given the kind of public opinion we are seeing, at least in this open letter. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, all gentlemen and Bhaspati Mukherjee, for joining me. Thanks very much for watching.